Rambam. We're learning the laws of Taina Nitan, laws of plaintiff and defendant. Let's get to chapter 4, where we are. Okay. Chapter 4. A person who admits a portion of a claim is not required to take a scriptural oath until the plaintiff lodges a claim against him for the entirety with a specific measure, weight, or number, and the defendant admits owing a portion of that measure, weight, or number. What is implied? A plaintiff claims, "You owe me 10 denarii," and the defendant responds, "I only owe you 5," right? Or he says, "You owe me a core of wheat." And he says, "No, I only owe you a lettich," right? Less than that. "You owe me 2 liters of silk. I only owe you a rotel," right? A lesser amount. In all of these and other similar situations, he's liable. Liable for what? A biblical oath. A biblical oath, right? In other words, he has to pay what he admits to, and the remainder of it, he takes a biblical oath to um, mitigate any further um, responsibility, right? And he wouldn't have to pay anything more. Okay. Now we're talking about, of course, in a situation where this is the entire claim is being made verbally. There's no written document to prove anything, right?
Is this in front of a bit?
And this is in front of a basin. Yes.
Where?
The swearing's in front of the basin. Yeah.
You not really think. Oh,
Well, in front of basin, he has to admit that. Yeah. It plays itself in front of basin at the same time. Different rules apply, however, if the plaintiff claims, "I gave you a wallet full of coins," and the defendant answers, "You gave me only 50. Or he claims, "I gave you 100 denarii," and the defendant answers, "You gave me only this pouch, and you did not count the contents before. So I do not know what was in it. You are receiving what you gave me." In all of these, all similar situations, he's not liable to take an oath. Why? Because there's not a definitive claim or disclaim made, right? It has to be definitive. A pouch is not, of money is not a certain amount. So there's not a definitive claim. Therefore, a biblical oath he will not take. Similarly, the plaintiff claims, "I gave you a room full of grain." Defendant answers, "You gave me only 10 korim." Or he claims, "I gave you 10 korim," and the defendant answers, "I don't know how much you gave me because you did not measure them before me. You are receiving what you gave me." The defendant is not liable. Now there's liable for taking a biblical oath, right? If, however, the plaintiff claims, "I gave you this room that was filled with grain until the projection," right? A certain point, right? A certain height, right? So that's a certain size, right? And the defendant responds, "It was only filled only to the window." Then he is liable. Similar laws apply in all analogous situations. So when we say an amount, it doesn't have to be a precise amount of weight. It can be volume, right? So, you only gave to this line. I gave you to this line, and I said, "No, no, no. The window was down here. It was to the window." So that's a volume. It's not a weight. It's not a number, right? A specific number of how much, right? But that is precise sufficiently in order to oblige an oath. Okay, a person who admits a portion of a claim is not required to take a scriptural oath unless he makes his admission with regard to a matter that he could deny owing. What does that mean? What's implied? The plaintiff lodged a complaint against a colleague saying, you owe me 100 denarii. 50 are recorded in this promissory note, and 50 are not recorded in a promissory note. Right. The defendant responds, I owe you only 50 mentioned the promissory note. He is not considered to be a person who admits a portion of a claim, for his denial would be of no consequence with regard to the sum mentioned in the promissory note. All of his property is on lien to it, and even if he denied it, he would only be obligated to pay. So his denial would not be no consequence with regard to the sum mentioned in the promissory note. All of his property is on lien to it, and even if he denied it, he would be obligated to pay. Therefore, it's required to take only a shvus hesed, which is a rabbinical oath, concerning the 50 that are not mentioned in the promissory note. So it's not a biblical law, right? Being there two separate things over here. Okay, I'm running out of energy.